Welcome back to Bash Bros and episode 22 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, the TEW Let's Play where we find out what exactly would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling promotion. It's really fucking hot. I don't know where you're listening to this. It could be America, it could be here in Ireland, Northern Ireland, it could be across the pond in the UK. Fuck, it could be one of the ones from Venezuela, which apparently likes to chime in every once in a while. I don't know, but here in Northern Ireland, it is fucking warm. I'm sticking to my chair. I'm sticking to my notes. So if I start panting like a dog in heat through this, you know why. But the thermostat's not the only thing that's heating up. But yes, so last time you guys were here was week 4 of May, so you've only really missed a week. We will quickly launch into what happened last week on Wanted. So this is last week on Wanted. It was a really strong show with 63. Here is the rundown. So Sonico got a bit more momentum going into his match with Pentagon Jr. this week. Pentagon tried to attack him after the match, but Sonico was able to fend him off. So that just to kind of put that wee bit of a notion, and oh shit, maybe Sonico does have Pentagon's number. Going into the match this week, Jody Fleisch and Rich Swann started to compliment each other after their performance in the Fatal 4-Way match on the prior Wanted. And Ace Austin walked in being like, ugh, you two, get a room, go make kissy faces at each other elsewhere, blah blah blah, which will lead to a match this week between Rich Swann and Ace Austin. Chris Hero tried to align himself with Easton Reese, but even Easton Reese was disgusted by the actions of Chris Hero attacking Doug Williams, kicking him in the dick, and that's just to create a bit of separation between the two, because I don't really want that to be an alliance. The last quarter-final match of the women's tournament happened, with Maiko Satomura defeating Tennille Dashwood. So we have our semi-final matches starting this week. Yes, in fact, both semi-final matches will be happening this week. We had a promo between Conor and Hero where Conor put Chris Hero in a title match against Rich Swann to try and take the title off of Conor. That's just to keep that feud going until the pay-per-view. Kings of the North defeated Cyborg Wolves when Grado tried to get the Cyborg Wolves to sign for the Grado Talent Agency mid-match, and that distraction cost the Wolves the match. Dynasty then had a good laugh at Grado's expense afterwards. And in the main event, Chris Hero was able to retain his NPW title against Rich Swann in a fantastic match. 62 It was actually way more than I was expecting, so good match there. So that is what you missed in the time since you've been here last. So let's talk about the news. So we've had a couple of contracts come up for expiration, and we've re-signed a couple of people, so let's take a look at that. So I've already talked about the Yoshi wrestlers. So Asuka is re-signed for just another month to kind of keep her about for the feud with Tessa Blanchard, and Maki Ito is signed for about 6 months just to keep her about. She is going to be a great talent and is just a bit more available than Asuka is. Chris Adonis is out the door. We already know that. Chris Adonis is leaving the building. We will not be renewing his contract. Dean Allmark's contract already re-signed. I was actually on the fence about whether to resign Dean. Ultimately I did, but only for about 6 months. The reason is we have not used him a lot recently. With our roster kind of getting more and more people on it, I haven't needed to. But he is a really solid hand. He has good stats, really good stats. So he has really good stats, really solid hand. So that is really why overall I re-signed him. I don't know if I will re-sign him again once this 6 months are up. It really depends where we are as a company size and what our roster looks like. Tom Campbell's contract is also expiring, so I did do a search for any British announcers that had better announcing stats than Tom, but anyone I found that had better stats was already employed elsewhere, and we had way too many clashes, because obviously we need an announcer that's going to be free for every single show, and unfortunately Tom is still our best bet in that sense. I will say though, he has improved in the 6 months since we started this game. Yeah, in the 6 months since we started this game, you can see he has improved from 37 up now to about 43. So he is getting better. Whether he continues to improve or not, we'll see, but he is 100% getting better. And one more signing that is not a re-sign but actually a new signing is Mark Andrews. So Mark Andrews actually left NXT UK, which I didn't notice. I believe it was May week 4. He had left NXT UK. I believe it's a similar situation to when Maiko left NXT UK. Because Mark Andrews is an owner of a company, they won't sign exclusive contracts. So maybe that's why he left NXT UK. He's also released by Progress, so literally the only place Mark Andrews is working currently is Attack. Now I know we won't be able to sign him to an exclusive contract because he is an owner, but a guy who's not even in his 30s yet, a guy who is that good, like there's a lot of green in his skills, I think it'd be really dumb not to bring him in. And looking at his schedule, there's going to be very few clashes, if any, with his Attack scheduling. So yeah, look out for that. I'm currently negotiating with him, so I imagine he is going to be coming to us fairly soon. The last thing I want to talk about then is the company wars. Not necessarily us, but some other interesting things that have been happening. So we have gone up 1 or 2 positions since the last time we looked at this. I think we were 50-51, so we are still tiny, but we are still climbing the ranks. It's kind of some of the other guys I want to look at. So for example, OTT have really fallen down a good couple of positions, considering they were supposed to be our most immediate rivals, and we've now blown past them. And I wanted to see why, and then I looked at their size. Yeah, they have just dropped and dropped and dropped. I think the big issue really for OTT is that they don't have a broadcast deal that gets them outside of Ireland, so they're purely relying on their shows. And because of that, you know, they started like across all of the UK, they were quite solid, 2020, and now they've dropped down to 8, whereas their Irish shows, because they're performing shows in Ireland, it stayed at 44. Although we are not as popular as them in Ireland, we are still the bigger company because we're making that reach out and we're getting more popular across the UK as a whole. Another company that's kind of fallen down the pecking order as well is ICW. I believe they were kind of where OTT is, about 55, so they've dropped 5 positions pretty quickly. And again, looking at their size, everything, even in Scotland, they've just dropped significantly. Midlands, they've dropped, in 6 months, they've dropped 9 popularity. Same again in Northern England. So because they don't have a broadcast deal in this, as far as I know, they are only in Scotland, and even in Scotland it appears they're not actually performing as well as they should, or as well as they need to be to maintain their popularity or even make it grow. So yeah, they are 1 spot off being the smallest promotion in the game, which is crazy to think. In my opinion, I think it kind of shows how much the NXT UK has affected the UK and European indie scene, because if you look at the rankings, the highest rated UK or European promotion is NXT UK, but the next one down isn't until WXW, which is in 33. And then again, the next one down from that is Rev Pro. And WXW is in a working relationship with WWE, and Rev Pro is in a working relationship with New Japan. Next one down, next truly indie promotion down from NXT UK is actually Riptide, who recently went up to small. And to be honest, when you look at their roster, it's like a who's who of British wrestling, like Ojimo, Martina, Killer Kelly, Cal Fletcher, Cara Noir, Spike Trivet, Mad Kurt, Chuck Mambo, TK Cooper, Giselle Shaw, Connor Mills, Mike Bailey, Charlie Evans, Millie McKenzie. Like, those are like the best British wrestlers you will ever meet. Like, those are the cream of the crop of British wrestlers in there. So there's a reason why they are doing so well. I thought it was interesting. I think I'd like to see how the world is evolving at this stage. Be interested to see if ICW or OTT ends up closing down before we can kind of help them. I don't think they will. Like, they're still making money, they're still making profit, even if they are becoming smaller. But that is all of the news I want to talk about. A bit of a news dump. So yeah, there's nothing really left to do but book the show. So let's book it. And we are back coming at you from the Ringside Theatre in Ireland. It is Thursday Night Wanted. Let's take a wee look at the card. So probably the only thing here you're probably sitting there scratching your head at is what is Carlos Roma versus Timmy Storm. That is because prior to this show, Chris Hero made a promise. He came up to me. He was like, "Hey, Connor." Because I was saying Connor's name. You know that lad, because Chris Hero would say lad. So This is the dumbest thing. I'm so hot. So prior to the booking the show, in the incidents menu, Chris Hero actually made a promise to put Carlos Romo over. So the way I'm looking at it is, once Hero drops the belt, Carlos Romo will originally it was going to be Ace Austin, but I kind of want to move on to Carlos Romo now versus Chris Hero after Hero drops the title. Maybe I'll do a 3-way and have Ace Austin be in there too. That's a thought, because I do want Ace to start kind of making his way up to main event caliber, because he is that damn good, and he's young. So like if I put him in the main event now, I have like 10 years of him being a main event worker for us, which would be great. So that is the plan. So I want to start getting Carlos a couple more matches and get him a bit more momentum kind of going up. Even if they're on the pre-show, maybe I'll look at getting a bit more of a feature feud with another lower card guy. But yeah, at the minute, Squash and Jobbers is Carlos Romo. But other than that, yeah, everything's on there it needs to be, so let's get into it. So as I just mentioned, in a pre-show bout, Carlos had great wrestling and a decent reaction when Carlos Romo beat Timmy Storm in 14:39. What the fuck was this? They both got 50, which is what I consider to be like a main event. What? Timmy, what the fuck did you have a 50 match? You are a jobber. What the fuck? Fuck, I joke that I call him the force of nature, but he's just like, we're just gonna go out there and just steal the show. What? Fuck you. So both got a 50, which is like main event. And I got a 48 by a match just because it was a bit short. It was about 15 minutes, so it was a wee bit on the short side. But yeah, there you go. Timmy Force is a future main eventer. Babyface looking motherfucker right there. Okay, next segment. So Swan comes out for his match with Ace Austin, but the Filthy Generation attack him on the stage. This is kind of like during his intro. And Judy Fleisch makes the save with the chair, running them off. So again, this is to kind of build that alliance between Rich Swann and Judy Fleisch, which will lead to a tag team, which will lead to them feuding with another tag team, and so the storyline will go. 46 is decent. I wasn't expecting that. So 46 was a lot higher than I thought. Good job, guys. Next, we have Grado backstage trying to sign the Kings of the North to the Grado Talent Agency, and they rip up the contract in front of him and throw it in his face. And of course, Joe Henning and Davey Boy Smith are there to laugh at Grado. 42, which is okay. Was expecting a bit more from Grado, but Grado has a habit of letting me down, so whatevs. Right, onto the main card then. So in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Kaylee Ray defeated Maiko Satomura in 12:41 with the reverse code red. Kaylee Ray had a 45 and Mako had a 39, but Maiko was off her game. That's disappointing. Only a 39 rated segment. These guys are capable of much more. It was a lot short. I wanted to give them 15 minutes, but again, we're limited to an hour of screen time here, so it's tough to try and get everything on. I didn't want to put it on the pre-show with it both being the semis. So yeah, disappointing. And then in a promo backstage, the Grizzly Young Vets are looking forward to facing the Mighty Don't Kneel next week. That's a match that's happening next week, just go with it. And Kings of the North interrupt them, calling them weak, saying, why are you... these guys are your enemy. You shouldn't be happy to face them. You should want to destroy them. Because God forbid there be sportsmanship in wrestling. 35 segment, which again is disappointing, but this only went 3 minutes, again due to time restraints. So in our second semi-final match, in a bout that had great heat and decent wrestling, Viper defeated Killer Kelly in 12:54 with a Michinoku driver. 38, again, disappointing really. Killer Kelly had a 33. She has been disappointing all tournaments. Killer Kelly, was really expecting a lot more from her, and she just hasn't delivered, to the point where I'm considering not renewing her contract. Viper got a 45, which is okay. And an in-ring segment where Conor McGregor is determined to get the title off of Chris Hero and books him against Easton Reese next week. Again, this is just during this kind of Conor is going to show him be getting more and more frustrated, and then next week afterwards is when Conor is finally going to snap and just be like, screw the wrestlers in the back, clearly you need a man to do this, and then it'll be him versus Chris at the pay-per-view. 78, which is decent. but Connor's in there, so we expect nothing less. And in the main event, in a bout that had fantastic heat and great wrestling, Pentagon Jr. defeated Sonico in 1950 with a top rope styles clash. Pentagon had 57 and Sonico had 44, so Sonico dropped the ball a wee bit there. Last time he was out, he had a 50 rated match. Overall, though, 53, which is 100% main event performance. And in a post-match angle, Pentagon goes to sacrifice Sonico doing the armbreaker, but stops. Looks down at Sonico. Obviously this was a hardcore match, so I like to imagine Pentagon's mask would be ripped, he'd be pissing blood. He looks at the blood, he's lost in his hand, looks down at Sonico and offers him a hand to join him and the Master. Sonico, it's very much a case of, if you can't beat him, join him, and Sonico joins Pentagon. But yeah, so Sonico, that's kind of the twist. I did hint at this twist before, that there would be a twist in this feud. So that is it. So Sonico's turning heel and joining Pentagon. I like the idea of them kind of being together. So Sonico's whole gimmick is the Lucha Ghoul. Pentagon also has like the skull face paint with the mask. I think they aesthetically look really good together. There is this kind of creepy element to it. With the Master coming in, it gives Sonico a mouthpiece, because Sonico's mic skills aren't very good. Yeah, but he's obviously, as we've seen there, quite a good in-ring performer. But that is the final match of the Pentagon Jr. Sonico feud. And that is the show. So a 56 overall, which is good. Disappointing from the women's tournament matches. So news coming out of Wanted is here are more contracts that are up in a month's time. The only person that I don't think I'm going to re-sign is Timmy Force, just because with the way that I book companies, I like to have like a jobber for every scenario. So for example, I like having a face jobber, I like having a heel jobber, I like having a team of heel jobbers, and I like having a team of face jobbers. Same for the women's, I could have a female face jobber and then a female heel jobber. Timmy Force is decent, but Dean Allmark, who had just re-signed, suits being a jobber and is actually a better performer than Timmy. So I think I would rather have Dean over Timmy. I think the only plus side to Timmy is that he's a bit younger. Dean is about 35 and Timmy's 31. So yeah, I think at the minute I'm going to stick with Dean. Timmy will probably be released, but everyone else there, so Kid Lycos Jr. and Kenny Williams are all probably going to get renewed. So other than that, that is really everything. I think yous will be back next week. So next week, June week 3, you guys will be back, and the reason you're coming back for that is the title reveal of the Women's Championship and the contract signing for the finals between Viper and Kaylee Ray. But other than that, thank you very much for watching once again. If you did like it, leave a like and do subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any ideas about the way storylines should go, any team ideas, any angle ideas, anything at all, leave them in the comments, whether that be on Reddit, whether that be on YouTube, whether that be on Instagram, whether that be on Twitter. While you're there, follow us on all those things as well. But thank you very much for watching. As always, I will see you next time on Bash Bros.